Yep, it's Yasir X. Welcome back to another episode of Prison Talk and Doing for Self. Assalamu alaikum, Hotep. Good afternoon. All that. I got a story I want to still share with y'all, man. It is FOI Monday. You know, in the Nation of Islam, you see me all suited up, you know what I mean? FOI Mondays, we got Monday night class, you know. Got the fresh tight white. I got my pen, I got my pad. You know, in the Nation of Islam, we got structure, we got rules, we got discipline. And that is what makes us successful. But on Mondays, FOI class is strictly for the men of the Nation of Islam all across America and in certain countries and over the planet. And sometimes we'll get instructions from headquarters to open the Monday night class for the public. But mostly just for the men of Islam. It's just the FOI, the Fruit of Islam. And on Wednesday nights from 7:30 to 9 p.m., we have a meeting open to the public. And on Fridays, same time, we have another meeting open to the public. And on Saturdays, it's strictly for the sisters, the MGT. And on Sundays, from 10:30 to maybe 12 or 12:30, it's open to the public where you can catch the lecture from headquarters. And if you can't come out, if you can't find a local study group or a mosque where you're from, log on to noi.org/webcast and you can tune in to the lectures. But I got a story for y'all, man. And I want to share this story because just to give y'all a little history of who I am, and you're probably wondering why I ended up in prison. You know, if you so good, you got so much discipline, why you end up in prison? You know, the trolls, they be, you know how they do. But, so, you know, a disclaimer, you know, I'm not perfect, you know. I'm trying to be a righteous human being, you know, but I am not perfect. I'm not no saint, and I'm not here trying to preach. I'm not trying to be nobody leader, because that is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan does. He's the leader. So if you're not in tune with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you need to get in tune with him. Go look up some of his lectures on YouTube. And again, you can log on to noi.org/webcast. So I had to let that be known first. I'm not trying to get on here and sound like I'm perfect and talk down on nobody like I was just born in heaven. No, I had to go through the struggle. I came from the streets. I came from the bottom. But the purpose of this video, I want to share, you know, it's all right to be yourself, man. You know, I had to learn that the hard way. It's all right to be yourself, because the more you being yourself, the more successful you'll become, the more you'll be on the right path that you need to be. Because if you're not being yourself, and if you could just think about it, if you just be honest with yourself, when you're not being yourself, you end up in situations you don't want to be in. So I'm going to give y'all a little history, man. I'm not going to go too deep. I'm going to start off with my mom and my father separating, and we moving to Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. That's where all my people from on my mom's side, cousins, aunts, uncles, my grandma, rest in peace, grandpa. And you know my mom's story. My mom, she was raised in Cleveland, Ohio, but she's not from there. My mom's story, I'm gonna say my mom's story for a whole, a different time. My mama a soldier. My mama a strong woman. She been through a lot at a young age. but she real spiritual. And that's where I get my spirituality from. So shout out to Mom, but I'm gonna share Mom's story at another time. So anyway, me and my brother, my little brother, and my older sister, we moved to Ohio. And we were living with my grandmom in the basement for a while. And then my mom, she finally got a house that had a basement. Of course, I was living in the basement. And I was only 12 years old, but, you know, I thought I was the man of the house. I kept a knife and, you know what I mean, called myself, wanted to protect my mom. But it's a lot I went through in Cleveland, Ohio, but I'm gonna save some of that for another time. I just want to make a point on, you know, it's all right to be yourself. So in Cleveland, Ohio was really where I started to get wild and experience the streets. Mind you, I'm only 12, 13, so I'm going to share one incident that took place. And also, this is my first time hearing of the Nation of Islam in Minister Louis Farrakhan. I had a friend that went to school with me. We went to Paul Revere Elementary. And I used to go to his house, and every time I went to his house, his mom and dad were followers of Minister Louis Farrakhan. His name was Bashir. He had a Muslim name. So every time I would go to his house, you know, they had the VCRs back then, they would be playing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So that was my first encounter. Of course, I went and told Mom about it, and she flipped. Don't be listening to that. We believe in Jesus. You know, we went through that whole ordeal. But anyway, so one particular night, my father had sent, I gotta share this, we were doing real bad up there, man. And some of them I'ma say, but we were doing real bad up there. Mom was trying to hold it down without my father being there, because, you know, even though we didn't have no money in Mississippi, my father made sure he kept food on the table, be it work, be it selling marijuana, be it gambling, be it bootlegging. That's how I was raised. So we were doing pretty bad up there. And so my father had sent me and my brothers and sisters some money for Christmas. And so we caught the bus and we went to the mall, got what we, you know, we ain't have enough but for a coat because it's cold up there. So I got a triple fat goose, the trench, the long triple fat goose, you know what I mean, with the fur on the jump. So I got that, and it's cold. To make a long story short, it ain't even Christmas yet, but by this time, you know, Mama really couldn't do nothing with me. I was getting out of hand. But so she was like, don't, you know, it ain't even Christmas yet. Why you gonna put on a jacket? So I said, it's cold out there. So I put on the jacket, and I went to my friend Bashir house. Now, man, I'm not but 12 years old. Really don't got no business being out there that late. It's like 10 or 11. So I went to the house. We kicked it for a while. I'm on my way back home by 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And a car pull up. I'm thinking it's a car full of girls. And I'm really not thinking at all, being this age. The girls yelling, come to the car. I walk to the car. Dude jump out with a gun, talking about, give me your money. Now, in Cleveland, Ohio, robbing, I mean, it was heavy. Youngsters robbing each other, you know, mostly for the gangster nights and, you know, your starter jackets. It was real heavy. So I told him I ain't had no money. He like, take off your jacket. So I took off my jacket. You know, he robbed me for my jacket. I was right there on my corner. I had, Bashir lived about 10 blocks away. I was right there on my corner. So I walked home, the door was locked. Knocked on the door, Mom came to the door. Automatically, she sensed something wrong, and she just started crying. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to share that to let you know where some of my anger come from, going through similar things like that in Cleveland. And so by the time I made it back home, you know, it was really nothing they could do with me. You know, I was on one. But before I moved, now I'm gonna be honest with you. This what I mean by it's all right to be yourself. Like, I used to get into a lot of fights, but I would get whooped. Like, I couldn't win. I couldn't win. It seemed like I couldn't win no fight. You know what I mean? I used to always get beat up, be crying, you know. But I wouldn't run. I just couldn't fight, you know. So, but moving to Ohio, and you know, was in a couple of situations. Once you get that first win, you know what I mean, your confidence is up. So by the time I moved back home, you know, I'm ready now. So I remember I got into a fight with a homeboy down the street. We called him Skeeter. And so Skeeter, he was real fast. He always had muscles. He was the muscular type. Like, he didn't even have to work out. He was just built like that. You know what I mean? At a young age. And he was real fast. And so me and him get to fighting, and I got the best of him. I got that confidence, and, you know, it was really over with. I still get whooped sometimes, but, you know, all the losing all the time and all the crying I was doing, that was out the window. So I kind of wanted to share some of my backstory leading up into me going to prison. Now, I never portrayed to be no hard individual. I was quiet, I was laid back, some say sneaky. You know, I was just being myself, even in prison. And after about 4 years in prison, you know, I learned the ropes. I had prison mastered. You know, I'm young. I had prison mastered. You understand? I knew how to move. I knew how to maneuver. And even though I was affiliated, I still was a loner. And right hand to God, I hung around nothing but older men. And even the older men used to come to me for advice. You know, because all I did was read, I wrote, I was in different programs. I'm just being myself. And I used to have to tell, you know, some of the youngsters in there, because when you're in prison and people see you quiet, they gonna try you. You know what I mean? But I won my battles with my mind. Not saying that I ain't get into no scuffles, and I got some stories that I'll share later on. I got cut. A lifer tried to stab me, but I'll share that story later on. But I use my mind. I used to try to, you know, I tell dudes, like, I don't gotta be like y'all. I'm not trying to be like y'all. I'm just being myself. You know what I mean? I don't gotta fit in. You know what I mean? Because you got certain prison rules that I just didn't agree with, and I didn't live by it. And you can't make me live by it. That's how I thought. And again, I'm not no tough dude. I never portrayed to be no tough dude. I'm always laid back, but I'm going to defend myself. That's how I end up getting almost stabbed or cut across the chest. I'm going to defend myself. And I know I don't look like no, you know what I mean? But, you know, God blessed me with a heart, a big heart, and he blessed me with a brain. So I wanted to start off with that because, you know, I wanted to kind of explain to the youngsters, man, it's all right to be yourself, man. Be yourself. You ain't got to try to be nobody that you not. You know what I mean? It's all right to be yourself. I don't care where you at. You know, I got a homeboy that got locked up with me, my crime partner. He went in prison and he took a whole nother direction. He got his rank up, you know what I mean, because he was fighting the guards. He was doing all kinds of stuff. Shout out to WAP if you listen to this. I didn't go in with that mindset. Not that I was afraid. It's because I was just being myself. I'm gonna share one incident with my homeboy WAP. We had been in prison about 8 years at this time, and we finally linked up. Now, mind you, when I approached him, he didn't even know who I was. Like, I had prison mastered so good at the point I was working in intake. I was one of the guys that, you know, was there when other prisoners come from other inmates come from other prisons. I was one of the guys that was getting them their sheets and whatnot. You know what I mean? And I got friends on my Facebook and my Instagram that I was locked up with. They know that I'm solid. They know that I'm, you know, I wasn't considered no snitch. Because you had to and to get a catch like that in prison, most of the time you had to be a snitch. But my people know I wasn't no snitch. They know I was solid. You know what I mean? But anyway, so me and Watt, we reunite. You know what I mean? We wasn't on the zone together at this time. But the very next day he came to this particular prison. We was in Greenwood. That's in the Delta of Mississippi. The very next day, I'm going to the dining hall. You know, I kind of can move how I want to move. Me and my brother Sadiq. Shout out to Sadiq, aka Kid. That's my brother. He taught me a whole lot. He's another Muslim brother. But anyway, we kind of can move how we want to move. So I'm going to the dining hall. And as soon as I get in there, it was this guy from Laurel, I can't remember his name, and his crime partner was in there. His crime partner snitched on him. The dude had a life sentence. They had a murder charge, and the one that snitched on him had 6 years. Now, I don't know how they end up letting these two guys get together, but they was together. He spotted him. He rushed him, started beating him up. My homeboy Wop rushed him. You know, they are part of the same gang. They beating him up. The guard come. My homeboy, I'm a big old guard. My homeboy Wop, he wasn't big, but you know, he was a solid 190, real tall. And the guard tried to grab him. My homeboy Wop grabbed the guard and pushed him against the wall. Boom! So you know what happened after that. All kind of chaos and commotion broke off. And so they locked us down, took them to the hole. You know, but I could say one thing, my homeboy Wop, he was being himself. He always been that type of dude. He always been that type of dude to get down. He was about that life. It didn't matter if he was a police. It didn't matter who you were. He wasn't bagging down from nobody. He was that type of dude. So, you know, that's a story I wanted to share. So it's all right to be yourself, man. By now, you know that I'm a Muslim. I am a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's FOI Monday. About to get ready to go to the study group, get our lesson on. But first, I'm going to get on the corner and sell the Final Call newspaper for a while. And I'm telling y'all need to get familiar with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let me show you how much love this brother got for black people. The Nation of Islam fell. I know a lot of people, because I used to think that the Nation of Islam, it is what it is. Been here for a minute, and it had, but it fell, and it was dormant for 3 years. This brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, decided to rebuild a nation that was established by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ, the messenger of Allah. And it's facts. You know, a lot of things you really can't understand until you join the thing, but it's facts. But this brother rebuilt the Nation of Islam from scratch. You know the Final Call newspaper we got? He started that writing it himself in the basement of his home. If that ain't love for black people and want to see black people do better, want to see black people get the truth and the right information through the Final Call newspaper, writing it himself in the basement of his home, that's love. That's love. This brother sacrificed time from his family, sacrificed his life to travel all over America, got friends all over the world for the sake of black people. I know you might not understand it right now because you heard it so much, but I need you to pay closer attention to this brother and what he has done for black people in America and for the Nation of Islam, the Nation of Islam in particular. Now I'm trying to, I'm country, I talk country, so I'm trying to say my words correctly. Go look the brother up on YouTube, Minister Farrakhan. Go follow some of the superstars in the Nation of Islam, Brother Nuri Muhammad, Brother Ben X, Brother Ishmael Muhammad. It's a lot of us. Dr. Wesley Muhammad. It's a lot of them that's doing the work for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I just pulled up to the corner, about to jump out with my brother Tremont X, the youngest brother in Shreveport, 19 years old, doing the work for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Subscribe, like, share, and with that being said, salute.